Level 1. The winner. You're standing in a gas station. It's a Tuesday night. Fluorescent light. The hum of a slushy machine. A man behind the counter who's already forgotten your face. You scratch the ticket with a quarter you almost didn't have. 5 numbers. Then the 6th. You don't yell. You don't drop to your knees. You don't call anyone. You just stand there, staring at a piece of paper worth more than your entire life. And the first thought that arrives isn't joy. You are exactly the same person you were 60 seconds ago. Same clothes, same problems, same face. Except now you're richer than everyone you've ever met. It's a single sentence, fully formed, like it was waiting for this exact moment. But nobody can know. Level 2. The decision. You sit in your car for 3 hours, engine off, phone in your lap, screen lighting up, then going dark, then lighting up again. You don't call your mother. You don't call your best friend. You don't call anyone. The hardest part isn't the math. The lawyer, the blind trust, the LLC, that takes one phone call and a signature. The hardest part is deciding who no longer gets to know the truth. You make a list in your head, everyone you love. One by one, you cross them off. Not because you don't trust them, because you don't trust what knowing would do to them, or to you. By midnight, the list is empty. You drive home a rich man who has just made himself, on purpose, alone. Level 3. The mask. The money moves quietly. An entity with a name that means nothing to anyone who hears it. You keep the apartment. You keep the car. You keep the job you don't need anymore. Your boss offers you a promotion. You turn it down. He looks at you like you've lost your mind. A coworker jokes that you're the only person he knows who doesn't panic about rent. You laugh it off, change the subject. Your girlfriend reaches for the check at dinner like she always does, and you let her because letting her pay for tacos is easier than explaining why you could buy the restaurant. You learn the performance fast, stressed enough to be believable, stable enough to not raise questions. And here's the part nobody warns you about. The performance works. Nobody questions you. Nobody treats you differently. Your mother still slips you $20 sometimes and you still take it, because refusing would be its own kind of confession. For a while, this feels like winning twice. The money and the normal life that the money didn't touch. The performance works. That's the problem. Nobody questions you. Nobody suspects anything. And eventually, you stop acting like someone with a secret. You start acting like someone who forgot he had one. Comfort is where secrets become dangerous. Level 4. The paper trail. It's small things first. Your girlfriend notices you never check prices anymore. Not once. Not even glancing at a menu before ordering. Then on a Sunday afternoon while you're in the shower, she's looking for a phone charger in your desk drawer and finds something else instead. A folder, a trust document with a name on it that isn't yours but somehow is. She doesn't confront you right away. She sits with it for 2 days, turning it over, building a story in her head that gets worse every time she tells it to herself. When she finally asks, her voice is careful in a way that scares you more than yelling would. What is this? Whose name is this? Are you in some kind of trouble? You feel the floor tilt. This is the moment, the one you built an entire architecture of silence to prevent. You tell her it's nothing, an old business idea that never went anywhere, a friend's paperwork you were holding on to. She looks at you for a long 3 seconds, the kind of pause where you can feel her deciding whether to believe you. She believes you, barely. But she puts the folder back exactly where she found it, and that night you can't sleep because you've just learned something you didn't know about your own secret. It isn't buried, it's just unfound. There's a difference, and the difference terrifies you. You survive the folder. But you're starting to realize the secret isn't just a hidden file. It's a wall you're building between yourself and the only person who actually knows you. Level 5. Social loss. Your friend gets engaged. You're thrilled for him, genuinely. You also realize somewhere in the toast that you'll never get to make this kind of announcement. Not the real one. Not the one that matters. You can't celebrate the only thing in your life worth celebrating. A few weeks later, you do something you've done a handful of times now without telling anyone. You quietly pay off a stranger's medical debt through the foundation your lawyer set up, the one with a name that traces back to nothing. A woman 2 towns over, drowning in hospital bills after her husband's surgery. You never meet her. You just watch the balance disappear from a spreadsheet and move on with your day. 3 months later, you're at a barbecue. Someone's laughing too hard at a joke you missed. The aluminum beer can sweats against your palm. A dog tears across the yard chasing a tennis ball. You're half listening to a conversation at the other end of the table when you hear her name. Someone knows her. Someone's telling the story like it's a miracle. Whoever did that saved her life. She still doesn't know who. She cries every time she talks about it. You sit there with a beer in your hand, nodding along like you're hearing it for the first time, and you have to physically stop yourself from saying, "I know, because I did it." Nobody at that table will ever know you're the reason this story exists. You don't get to be the hero of it. You just get to overhear it, like a stranger, at your own act of generosity. You drive home that night feeling 2 things at once, and they don't cancel each other out. Pride, because you actually changed someone's life, and a loneliness so specific it doesn't have a name. The loneliness of being thanked by no one for something only you did. You can't tell anyone you funded a scholarship under a name that isn't yours either. You can't tell anyone about the night you sat alone in a 5-star hotel room you booked under someone else's identity just to see what it felt like. Every win disappears the second it happens. No one claps. No one even knows there was a finish line. You start keeping a private list of things you've done with the money, not to show anyone, just so you remember it happened. And still, some nights the secrecy feels like the smartest decision you've ever made. Nobody asks you for a loan. Nobody resents you. Nobody's opinion of you changed the day you became rich, because as far as anyone knows, you never did. There's a strange peace in being valued for exactly who you were before any of this happened. You just can't decide if that peace is wisdom or just a more comfortable kind of hiding. Level 6. The question. Your girlfriend says you've changed. You haven't, not really. You're just acting like everything is normal while living a completely different life underneath it. She says you're distant. You say you're tired. She says you used to tell her everything. You say you still do. You don't. One night, after the dishes, she sits across from you at the kitchen table and asks the question you've been dreading since the folder. Are you hiding something from me? Not angry, just tired. The kind of tired that comes from loving someone you can't fully reach anymore. You have maybe 2 seconds to decide the rest of your life. You say no. She nods slowly like she's choosing to accept the answer rather than believing it, and the conversation ends there, but something between you doesn't fully recover. She stops asking. That's worse than if she kept asking. It means some part of her has already started preparing for whatever you're not telling her. A friend stops inviting you to things around the same time, assuming you're pulling away on purpose. You're not. You're just exhausted from being 2 people at once. You watch your circle get smaller, 1 small unanswered question at a time, and you let it happen, because the alternative is a conversation you've already decided you can't survive. Level 7. Identity loss. 7 years in. Nobody suspects anything. The performance is flawless. The accounts have grown beyond what you imagined possible, which means nobody knows you anymore either. Not your girlfriend, who fell in love with a version of you that was already half fictional. Not your mother, who still thinks you're scraping by, still slips you $20 sometimes like you need it. Not even you, some nights, lying awake, trying to remember which parts of yourself are real and which parts you built to keep the secret alive. You used to know exactly who you were pretending for. Now you're not sure the performance has an audience left. You wonder if you're still hiding the money, or if the money stopped being the thing you were hiding a long time ago. The strange part is you'd still make the same choice again. The secret protected everyone you love from a version of the world where money changes how they see you, how they ask you for things, how they remember who they were before they knew. That protection is real. You just never accounted for the toll it would take on you to be the only wall standing between them and the truth. Level 8. The confession that didn't happen. Your mother calls, just to talk. She does that now more often since your father passed, like she's trying to hold on to the people she has left. She asks if you're happy, really happy, not performing happy, actually happy, and something in you finally breaks loose. "Mom," you say. "There's something I've never told you." She goes quiet on the other end, waiting, and for one suspended second, the entire architecture of the last decade hangs in the air between you, ready to collapse. Then her doorbell rings. "A delivery," she says, "hang on." And you hear her set the phone down. Footsteps, the door, a muffled exchange about a package she wasn't expecting. By the time she picks the phone back up, the moment has passed. She asks what you were saying. You tell her it was nothing, just that you're proud of her, that you love her. She says she loves you too and means it completely, and has no idea how close she just came to knowing everything. You hang up shaking, not sure if you're relieved or devastated that the doorbell rang when it did. Level 9, the reckoning. Your mother dies on a Thursday morning, quietly, in her sleep, the kind of death people call peaceful because there's no better word for it. She never knew, not about the gas station, not about the ticket, not about the sentence that got interrupted by a delivery she wasn't expecting. At the funeral, people tell you how strong you're being. They don't know there's a second grief underneath the first one, not just losing her, but losing the conversation you spent 10 years deciding not to have, and then almost having, and then losing anyway, to nothing more than a doorbell. You sit alone afterward, in the house she left behind, and the question you've been outrunning since level 2 finally catches you. You always told yourself you were protecting her, protecting the relationship, keeping her safe from a truth that might have changed how she saw you, or how she saw the world, or how she slept at night. But sitting in her kitchen, surrounded by $20 bills she still kept folded in a drawer for you, just in case, you finally ask yourself the real question: were you protecting her, or were you protecting yourself from a conversation you were afraid to survive? You think about everything the secret gave her: a son who never asked for help, never burdened her with strange new wealth, never made her wonder if money had changed him. She died knowing exactly who she always thought you were. You don't know if that's a gift you gave her or a truth you stole from her. You don't have an answer. You're not sure you ever will. Level 10, the quiet. 10 years after the ticket, you pull into the same gas station, same parking spot, same building, though the sign's been repainted, same fluorescent hum leaking out into the dark. The accounts grew, every investment paid off, every secret held. Not one person ever found out, not really, not the whole truth. A folder almost surfaced once. A confession almost happened once. Both times the silence survived. The plan was perfect. You sit in the car the way you did that first night, engine off, phone in your lap, except this time there's no one left to call even if you wanted to. You think about the version of yourself who sat right here a decade ago, crossing names off a list, certain he was making the smart choice. You still don't know if he was right. Your girlfriend stayed. Your friends never knew anything was wrong with you that they couldn't write off as exhaustion. Your mother died loving exactly who she thought you were. By every measure that matters to the world, the secret worked. You got everything you decided to keep. The question that's left is whether you protected your life or just the money. The cycle continues.